Hello and welcome to Region Locked. Quintet are a company renowned for their RPGs published on the Super Nintendo, such as ActRaiser, Soul Blazer, and Illusion of Gaia. The president of Quintet was Tomoyoshi Miyazaki, who was also scenario writer for the first three in the Ys series. The company's main director, Masaya Hashimoto, was the programmer for those Ys titles. Their games were known for addressing darker themes, in particular the balance between life and death. These titles all had two worlds that were not only the opposite of one another, but complementary, both needing to exist for either to operate on their own. One game that follows these ideas most closely is the Japan and PAL exclusive game, Terranigma. Quintet's Terranigma was published in Japan in 1995, and was released in the European and Australian markets 14 months later. The game follows the same gameplay style as previous games in what many call the Soul Blazer trilogy. The game is played from a top-down perspective and attacks are performed in real time. These moves change depending on whether the hero is running or jumping while attacking, and the player is also capable of blocking projectile attacks with the shoulder buttons. However, the player is not capable of defending against melee attacks. Throughout the game, the player obtains new equipment such as armor and weapons, as well as items that can be used to improve the player's stats. As with most RPGs, experience is gained by defeating enemies, eventually resulting in a level up which improves the player's stats. The game also uses a shop system with money dropped by enemies. Rather than the standard use of magic attacks with an MP meter, the game opts to use magical rings that can be purchased from stores. These rings can be bought with not just the money obtained from enemies, but also collected Magirocks. These are rocks found throughout the game and serve only as a tradable item. These rings are depleted after use, but will return the Magirocks to the player so that they can repurchase the rings. Additional rings also become available as the game progresses. The story of Terranigma takes place on a fictional version of Earth. However, unlike our planet, this Earth is hollow and features two distinct landscapes. On the surface, or light side, intelligent new life is born, resulting in rapid progress and development. In the underworld, or dark side, there is little besides fear and anger. These two sides came to be known as God and Devil. After billions of years of conflict between the two factions, a last stand took place on the continent of Antarctica, revealing no true victor. After the Great Battle, the continents of the surface world sank beneath the ocean, and the entrance to the underworld was sealed. The story follows Ark, a young man who grew up in the lone village of the underworld, Krista. Ark's brash nature leads him to opening a forbidden door. Within, he discovers a mysterious box from which a demon named Yomi emerges. Their meeting causes time to stand still within the village, leaving the citizens frozen in place. The only person left unaffected is the village's elder, who guides Ark to lift the curse that has befallen the other villagers. Ark then leaves his home, a first for the people of Krista, and must conquer a trial set across 5 towers, each representing a different continent of the planet. After he succeeds and life is brought back to the village, he is instructed by the village elder to travel to the light side and restore it to its former self. Ark sets off on his journey, leaving all that he knows behind. The reason behind the game's localization, and lack thereof, comes from the way in which Enix operated its business at the time of the game's publication. As the game was published by Enix in all territories, it would have been up to them to publish the game on the American market too. However, around the time of Terranigma's release, Enix made the business decision to close its American branch of the company, and halt all future game releases in the region. Enix made this decision due to poor sales figures in America. Meanwhile, the game was given a full official release in Europe and Australia after Nintendo made the decision to localize and publish the game in those areas. Beyond this, the game was also given official translations for German, French, and Spanish languages as well. The translation team even featured Daniel Osen, a translator for Nintendo of America who worked on many AAA first-party titles. Osen was also one of the first voices heard on a Nintendo console, providing his voice for not only Star Fox, but for the introduction to Super Metroid as well.
The last Metroid is in captivity.
In many ways, people consider the game's lack of official US release to be a positive. American releases of SNES or SNES titles from the previous 2 games in the Soul Blazer trilogy were known to have instances of censorship, while Terranigma remained the same in all of its releases. While it's a shame that the US audience weren't able to play the game at the time of its release, it does mean that if the game is ever published through digital distribution in the future, it's possible that the game will feature the full European uncensored release. And if you'd like to check out more Region Locked, there's a couple of videos up on screen. If you want to keep up with our future videos, why not consider subscribing? You could even like this video and make us all super happy plums or something. Excellent, excellent. Talented writer.